Very, very nice. Well, South Korea now on high alert after North Korea test fires its second intercontinental ballistic missile last night. The South asking the U.S. to consider letting it bolster its missile arsenal, something the White House says it's willing to discuss. Joining me now is Asia analyst Gordon Chang, and author of Nuclear Showdown, North Korea Takes on the World. Gordon, are we on the brink of another active Korean War?
Well, we could be, because the North Koreans are making very fast pace on their missiles, also on their nuclear weapons. What they did yesterday on July 4th and on May 14th was really past their last technical hurdle, which is heat shielding, to be able to protect the nose cone as it re-enters the atmosphere. Now, there's a lot of things that the United States can do short of use of kinetic options, but we have to demonstrate political will that we have not demonstrated, for 2-3 decades.
So what does that mean, and where are the kinks, Gordon? What's preventing the flow towards a solution? What's the specific strategy that you have in mind?
I think the problem really has been China. The administrations, in and administrations out try to have concessions to China to develop goodwill and cooperation. What we haven't done up until at least the last week of last month is to impose costs on China. Now, what the Trump administration did last month was to say to China, look, these are some small punishments. We can amp up the pressure if you're not going to cooperate. But the problem right now is the North Koreans have shortened the time frame, because in a year, maybe even less than that, they'll be able to nuke New York, Washington, D.C., Key West, and so we don't have very much margin for error. We've got to solve this now, and if we don't solve this now, this world's going to be a horrible place.
So then talk of increasing South Korea's military does not seem to be deterring Kim Jong-un, but perhaps that might make China think twice about turning a blind eye to what they're seeing that he's up to.
Right. We have this 1979 agreement with South Korea that restricts its ability to develop ballistic missiles, and we did that to try to encourage restraint on the part of the Kim regime. Well, as we've seen under Kim Jong-un, the current ruler, there is no restraint in their weapons programs. So what we need to do, I think, is take the restraints off South Korea, let it develop ballistic missiles, all sorts of weapons. That'll make the Chinese extremely nervous, just like they got nervous over the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, which was deployed in South Korea. It's an anti-ballistic missile system. The Chinese don't like it because they think it degrades their capabilities. We got to do things that really impose costs on China so they understand they can no longer support the North Koreans and that we won't respond. We have to respond.
So it's time to reset the table. Less China, more focus on our allies. Speaking of which, Japan, what if they want to beef up their military in the face of all of this?
Sure, and there's another country as well, and that's Taiwan. The United States has restrained nuclear weapons programs in South Korea and Taiwan because we wanted China to have some restraint. But they have developed North Korea's ballistic missile program, and they've also helped on the nukes as well. And so, right now, this is a system which is great for China and North Korea. They get to do whatever they want, and we restrain our allies. That has got to end.
So you're saying it's time to change policy, but is it too late at this point to change policy that would matter?
Well, it's pretty late, but it's not too late. We do have some months in order to do this. The Trump administration has demonstrated it is going to change the focus of American policy. We are going to pivot after decades of ineffective, misguided policies. So that's a good thing. But, as you point out, we don't have very much time.
In 30 seconds, Gordon, if you were speaking to President Trump, what is the direction? What is it that he should do towards China?
President Trump should get on the phone, or at least say this in public, and tell the Chinese, look, you can support North Korea or you can do business with the United States, but you can't do both. If the Chinese believe him, then we are on the road to a solution, because the Chinese can throttle the North Koreans anytime they want.
Well, and President Trump seems to put bite behind his bark in terms of saying, look, all military options are on the table. Gordon Chang, thank you so much for your analysis. Always very nice to talk to you.
Thanks, Arthel.